Alright, good morning ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Digital Endurance Series WEC 8 Hours of Nürburgring. The second race in the WEC racing calendar of the DES is just about to go on the way. We have 6 minutes left, and so everyone, once again, welcome to the stream of the second lobby for this race on this beautiful racetrack. Even though that the Nordschleife is not included, we still should have a great race just in front of us. I may introduce myself. I'm WSR-Otaku, also known as Z Flamehaze. You may know me from streams of the past with Flipsy together, but today I'm all by myself. It just, I think it should be okay as well. And just talking about him, he's just in the chat. Hello, good to see you in the chat as well. Missing you just a little bit, because streaming with you is always fun, but I think it will go pretty well. It's not the first stream that I do alone. And we have 5 minutes left until the race is to go on the way, and I would say that we take this time and have a look who's driving for which team and where the drivers are positioned at right now. So unfortunately I do not possess the ability to post the qualifying table because I'm streaming directly through the PlayStation, and so I'm sorry for that, but I hope that I can still keep up with information, and we should focus on the most important thing, which is what is happening right in front of us, the race. Also welcome to William F1 fan, and from the Superbike, World Superbike in Assen. Oh, that's cool. I hope you're also having a great race there, and but also cool that you are following the WEC race. Grüße auch an dich, Misanthropolik, schön, dass auch du dabei bist. Viel Erfolg auch an euch für Feelgood Racing. Erstes Rennen, glaube ich, für euch in der WEC jetzt hier bei der DES. Und alright, so let's have a look if I find the timesheet, and here we have it. So we are still waiting for a few drivers, and they should be joining in a couple of moments, but I can already tell you in first place in qualifying in the hypercar class is RX1. We don't see them in this lobby because they are racing in the first lobby. Also, if you want to see what is happening there in the first lobby, you just have to go to the Twitch channel of the Digital Endurance Series, and you can follow your favorite team, your favorite drivers on this channel as well. So RX1 in lobby number 1. Then we have here he is, DLL Flipsy, also driving for the first DLL team in second place. Third place is the WS Racing team number 1, also driving in lobby number 1. Then we have Eddie driving for the GTF2 team, but we don't see him in the lobby. I think he also hasn't joined yet, or maybe he's still waiting. No, he still has to join the lobby, but we still have we have only 3 minutes, so it's getting a bit close. And so let's see if he's gonna get in time or not. So in fifth place we have the Carter Wittlich Racing team number 1. Driver is KC1900 VFL. Then we have the GTEC driver, which is still unknown. Unfortunately, I do not have the race numbers, which would make it a bit easier. And you can see everyone is already waiting because we are just a few moments away from starting. So 7th place overall is BNR1, 8th place RX Team 4, 9th place RRC1, the driver of this team is Masma 67, and in 10th place we have Serial Blaze for DON1. Then we have the GTE grid. In 1st place of the GTE we have RX Ravis driving for RX2. 2nd place Feelgood Racing Team 1, 3rd place RRC2, 4th place RX3, 5th place is RRC3, 6th place WSR Team number 2, 7th place GTF1. In 8th place we have DLL Team number 2. In 10th place GTEC Team number 2, 11th is GTF3, in 12th we have RX Team 5, 12th place, yes, 12th place, almost doing a mistake, is DON Team 2, and last but not least in the GTE class we have TRD Team number 1. Yeah, very unfortunately there's one team missing. DON3 I think is yeah, they have retired from the race because there are not enough drivers to compete for the 8 hours, which is really unfortunate, but yeah, the race seems to go now underway. There's been a bit of confusion because there were some drivers still changing their liveries I think, but it seems that the race is going on the way. We have no formation lap because we have 2 lobbies, so this is the real starting position. 8 hours in front of us, and in 1st place in this lobby at least DLL Flipsy, and the countdown will start and the racing is on the way. Go, and there's one driver keeping his position, and there's been a really big crash in the background, and I think Feelgood Racing Volle Pulle Bruno has already damaged, not even competing one corner because an hypercar has not moved at all, already carnage before reaching turn 1, which normally is one of the most critical points, but we didn't even have to get there. So in front, what's happening there? Flipsy in front, no problem for him, also Pro keeping his position just behind Serial Blaze, and yeah, thereafter TFSI 78 in 5th place driving for the 2nd WSR Racing team. Volle Pulle Bruno just behind him, DLL Johnny driving for the, I think, 3rd DLL team if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, in 7th place, 8th place Siroku Haku with a brilliant start, Schäfer in 9th, and we have Denji T in 10th place with already caused a damage, and I think this has been the hypercar that yeah, has been sleeping at the starting position. So Flipsy already putting up a gap, pulling away from Pro, but he's also has managed to create a quite large gap behind to Serial Blaze. And yeah, Tony Redgrave joining the lobby. I think he has been a little bit too late, and now we have to wait if yeah, the host decides to restart the lobby, or if we are continuing the race as it is now. Greetings already also to PPL Eddie, der Echte, and yeah, welcome to the stream. A little bit of confusion. We have already had a crash, not even after turn 1, but yeah, on the start finish straight. Yeah, always something mysterious happening. So Denji T recovering just a bit, but the damage will definitely slow him down. Volle Pulle Bruno has overtaken TFSI 78 in the Lexus. Yeah, quite brilliant place if you consider that he still has damage from his crash. It hasn't been his fault, he just did not expect the hypercar in front of him to slow down that much. Yeah, Johnny just behind Siroku. All GTE cars very close together. Okay, we're on the 2nd lap. We are still approximately 60 laps behind of finishing the 1st stint. This is normally the lap time for one stint of 2 hours, approximately 61 to 62 laps. Mahlzeits Emirates, grüß dich, willkommen im Stream. Yeah, Gommel, also a team that we are missing a bit in the Digital Endurance Series. We've been driving here 2 years ago, approximately, and let's walk a bit through the field. Flipsy up ahead, Pro in second place, the hypercars very evenly spread out, then recovered to 4th place, and thereafter we do have the GTE field. Feel the vibes in front, just about 8 tenths, really close behind. Polo Bruno in the Audi R8, TFSI in 3rd place, Zero Kuhaku in 4th place, but he will have to serve a penalty, and just behind there's an interesting battle developing between the Porsche of DLL Johnny and SAL Chef, and 3 abreast into the chicane. Alright guys, keep calm, it's only the 2nd lap and you're already fighting as if it was the last lap. But that's what we want to see, that's why we love racing. And yeah, Johnny keeping his position, staying in P8, Schäfer behind, and Kuhaku missing out, went from P8 overall to P10, but is still keeping with the pack in front. So everything calm at the front. Oh, there's been an overtaking attempt by Zero Kuhaku. Late braking move into turn 1, and it almost paid off, but Schäfer defended it quite well around the outside at the AMG arena. Still keeping his position, but Kuhaku does not want to back off. He wants to take his position back, but misses out in the end to Schäfer in the McLaren. Yeah, Misanthropolik supporting his team, Feel Good Racing. Yeah, very, very unfortunate that he got damaged just after, not even after one corner. Wasn't his fault, it was just a misunderstanding. He was about to avoid the hypercar, which just did forget to accelerate. Maybe he was expecting a formation lap, but the rules stipulate that we do not proceed with a formation lap if there are more than if there is more than one lobby, because the time difference created by driving the formation lap would be too large, and therefore we just do a normal flying start. So TFSI and Polo Bruno still close together, but Feel the Vibes is pulling away the GTE class a little bit more competitive at the moment than the hypercar class, where the gaps are at least 2 seconds large already, just after 3 laps, 3.5. They are now proceeding through the Ford curve, now entering the Mullenbach-Schleife as it is called, and meanwhile Feeling the Vibes, I think, doing the quickest time in the GTE field. No, Polo Bruno has been approximately 1/10 faster. Slowest car of the 3 is TFSI 78. Johnny doing a 55.5. Thereafter we have Schäfer and Zero Kuhaku, who are still fighting with each other. They seem to have fun, and I think that's the most important thing normally in a race, as it's still only a game. If you don't have fun, you have to look for another purpose, but of course. Oh, Kuhaku, another penalty for him, 0.5 seconds. Penalties do hurt on this track, but not as much as on most other tracks, because penalty zone is just at the exit of the Wielstein curve, which is 1.5 kilometers in front. And Misanthropolik is informing us that Lobby 1 is restarting. That's interesting to know. Thank you for the information. Oh, that's been almost a spin of Zero Kuhaku. We just move away. We don't want to jinx him as a streamer. Before people tell me that it is my fault, we just move ahead and see what the rest is doing. So Johnny pulling away from Schäfer, 4.8 seconds in front of him. TFSI 78 still no overtaking now. Polo Bruno, I think, did he have a penalty? Let's compare the speeds. Yes, he seemed to just have received a penalty, and falls back 2 seconds, and that's what I meant. A penalty normally does not hurt, but this seems to be a penalty which has been of more than half a second. It must have been at least 1 second, 1.5, something like this. And meanwhile, TFSI 78 putting up a gap, and still seeing the car in front. Feel the Vibes And I think he will try everything that he can to fight with him for P1. Let's have a look at the hypercar field, which we've been ignoring for the first 5 minutes because not much has been happening here. DenGT still in 4th place in this lobby, Serial Blaze 3rd place, Pro in 2nd place, and Flipsy in P1, and also has just done his fastest lap, 141.645. Let's see if he's able to beat his own time. I think he might be, yes, 141.311, very strong time. Just to remind you, qualifying times, or at least the pole time was around a 140 something, but without tire wear and without fuel consumption, so the cars should be supposed to be a little bit quicker than they are now in race trim. But still, not a bad result, not a bad lap time, 141.3, really strong. And the guys behind also slightly keeping up. 2 to 3 second time differences are not as huge as you might imagine, because you should not forget that a hypercar has to be managed a bit. You need the hybrid system for the entire stint. 2 hours is a long time, and if you go flat out from the beginning onwards, you lose your hybrid energy really fast, and therefore your lap times later on will drop. But if you compare those drivers with each other, the hybrid energy distribution is almost identical between each of those 4 cars. And yeah, that keeps it interesting. Let's have a look at the GT class again. Feel the vibes, still 1.2 seconds ahead of TFSI. Polo Bruno behind. Great livery, we have to say, of the Feel Good Racing team. Looks really amazing on the Audi R8. But I have to admit, every team that is driving here really put his effort on designing their car. The DLL livery also looking great. This is also a great design of the GTP team. I think it's GTP, please correct me if I'm wrong. Let's have a look. No, sorry, GTF3. Sorry, my mistake, I didn't say anything. And yeah, Zero Kuhaku also with a known design by the DLL team, but in orange, something different. Normally their team design is dark green. Well, it's I think it is a new split up team. Oh, also a mistake by Zero Kuhaku. We are not supposed to stay with any driver longer than necessary, because we might jinx them. We also jinxed at the start the feel-good car probably, but we haven't been selecting him. We just saw it in the background. Okay, Flipsy still in P1, Pro 2nd place, Serial Blaze in 3rd, and already 52 seconds between P4 and P1 in the hypercar class, but that shows you how difficult this car is to drive, and it really is difficult. It's not an easy task. So TFSI is still in 2nd place, maintaining his gap to follow Polo Bruno, and also doing a very fast lap time now, 154.873, which should at the moment be the fastest lap time on the track. But don't forget, Polo Bruno still with damage, so in theory he should be a little bit faster. Johnny in 4th place, also doing his first 154 lap time, 154.958. Schäfer doing a 56 time. To be honest, this is probably around the lap times that I will do myself later on. Yeah, it's a really difficult track. Lexus has become a really difficult car to drive. Still a fun car, but not easy. And yeah, after the last patch, the mid-engine cars have been really great to drive. Much more fun than before the patch. And I also myself considered to use them in different leagues. Of course not in the DES. We will stay loyal to Lexus. We like this car, and we still have a lot to learn about it. Yeah, WSR-Otaku in last place still, but still the gap really close, 8 seconds to Schäfer. I think there has also been a problem, no? The time's still looking good. So, all good. Oh, there's been a bit of dust, and I think the first blue flags should be shown in a few moments, and Johnny is closing the gap to follow Polo Bruno. Only 7 tenths between those two guys. Might be because of traffic. There's the leading car now approaching the two fighting GTE drivers. Just behind Flipsy will appear in a few moments. I think he might be able to overtake both cars before turn 1. Important news for those of you who are new on this racing series. Cars of a faster racing class are allowed... oh no, let's start different. Cars from a slower racing class, in this case the GTE class, are allowed to keep their line, so they don't have to make space even if they are shown blue flags. But of course this only is important if there's a hypercar approaching. If it is a car of the same class, they have to make space. They have to stay clear of the racing line and letting faster cars through, but this does not count for hypercars. Flipsy now overtaking TFSI, and TFSI is now 2 seconds behind. They're really fast driving Feel the Vibes, who's now doing a 154.777. And now being overtaken by the hypercar. The hypercar also very interesting, has not as much downforce in the high-speed corners as you might expect. In the training sessions we were really surprised that our GT car was faster around the Schumacher S as the hypercar. Something we did not expect, but we tested it in different situations, and in any situation the hypercar was faster. Oh, close situation because for the Polo Bruno, and I think it was Serial Blaze. No, it was Pro. Close situation, nothing happened. But I think this was a typical misunderstanding. Serial Blaze did not expect Polo Bruno to pull out to the left hand side, as the ideal line is normally for the next corner on the right hand side. Typical situation, it won't be the last time we see something like this happening. It's perfectly normal. Such misunderstandings in a period of 8 hours are just normal to occur once in a while. The most important thing is to keep it safe, keep it clean, and if it is necessary, take your time, as Pro is doing right now, seeing that the WS Racing driver in front is not able to make space in this twisty section called the AMG Arena, so he just pulled out and waited until there was enough space to overtake, as he's doing now, exiting the Ford curve, now approaching the Mühlenbach-Kehre in the most southern part of the entire Nürburgring at the moment, as the Nordschleife, as you might have guessed due to the name, is in the northern section of the GP circuit. So just around the last corner there's the entry point to the Nordschleife, but of course because those hypercars are really fast, and also already on this track really difficult to drive, it would be too dangerous to let them race at the Nordschleife. And as overtaking is also really difficult on this track, even for slower cars, I think it is a great idea to just remain on the GP circuit. Serial Blaze also having a car ahead who's receiving blue flags, and yeah, similar situation as before. And you see it, the GT car keeping his line and nothing happens. That's what we want to see. So that's still in 4th place, gap to P1, 1 minute and 11 seconds. And Feel the Vibes is keeping 1st place, but TFSI made up 7 tenths in the last lap for the Polo Bruno, losing out a little bit, even though his last lap was not that bad. It might be because of traffic. Johnny in 8th place, Schäfer 9th, Zero Kuhaku in 10th place. So 18 minutes gone, we only have 1 hour and 42 minutes left until the first stint ends. This might give me time to explain a small prediction that we might have heard according to the weather, which at the moment seems okay. It's a little bit cloudy, but nothing to worry about. But there are some rumors that after 4 hours there could be a heavy rain shower. There's no guarantee, but the probability for it to happen is really, really high. And we might have, please correct me if I'm mistaken, the first ever multi-class race scenario ever on the Digital Endurance series. If I'm not mistaken, and I think I am not this time. So, keep a look ahead. Bruno also losing out to Johnny, who's closing in. And those two are now fighting for P1. Let's keep a look on those cars. Let's have a little onward with feel the vibes. Oh, I love this camera perspective. Yeah. I think from behind it looks a little bit better. So here we have the camera perspective of the Lexus RCF of TFSI 78 driving for WS Racing team number 2. The first team competing in the first lobby in the hypercar class. And yeah, the gap's still looking stable. It does not look as the Austrian driver is about to attack. Feeling the vibes, probably also feeling a little bit of the pressure, but staying calm, doing what he's doing best, doing good lap times, keeping his position. And meanwhile at the front, everything still seeming normal. The gap between Pro and Flipsy is still around 12 seconds, increasing slightly, as Flipsy is doing brilliant lap times, almost only 41s and 42s, great pace, and we might compare them later on with the drivers of the first stint. Oh, there was a slight freeze. Also, I'm really positively surprised that the lobby is at the moment really stable. There are not many lags. Cars look great, no bugs. So, perfect start to a Saturday 8-hour race at the Nürburgring. As Johnny is now improving his lap time, 2.5 tenths up, and still starting to pick up the pace, keeping really close to Bruno, who is now only 1.7 seconds ahead. Yeah, the chicane wasn't the best chicane of all time, but he's still keeping up, and the gap is slightly but surely coming down. Yeah, how does it look in P1? Yeah, the Lexus having a great exit out of the first corner, but probably losing out on the straights. Porsche, quick car after the patch in a straight line. There's still a bit of action between those two cars. Oh, there was a slight rift of the Porsche. I think you might have heard it, but it won't be enough for an attack. And still, even though those cars are fighting, 0.015 seconds off his fastest time, TFSI 78. And now I think he is ready to do an attack. Maybe at the Müllmachschleife? No, gap is still a little bit too large. Nothing happening there, and feeling the vibes, yeah. Still keeping his position, driving his normal line, no massive defending. And yeah. That's really clever driving between those two guys. They're not holding each other up, they're just doing their best lap times as they can. They know if the race is 8 hours long, a fight right now would not be the best idea, as you lose so much time. And yeah, you shall not forget there's another lobby where people might not be fighting and still doing great lap times. But this is at the moment by far the most interesting duel we have in the entire lobby, and there is an overlap also just up ahead which could decide the fight between those two guys. Not the best exit of both cars out of the Vedol chicane. A really difficult section to exit the corner. And now TFSI 78 picking up the slipstream as Serial Blaze passes both of them. Changing lines is of course permitted if you don't do it too often. Everything okay here. And you might have just seen it, the hypercar has a really long braking line and is arguably a little bit slower in those corners as the GT cars, which is a little bit surprising. Yeah, good exit of both cars out of the AMG arena. Let's see how this develops. Let's keep a look behind, because there's also probably a fight starting to start. Can you say it like this? Yeah. There's also a fight developing. Let's keep it like this. Yeah. Johnny closing in, even though he has lost a little bit of time and also has gotten a 0.5 second penalty. So there's still nothing guaranteed here. Yeah, Killer's mating supporting Bruno. Yes, Bruno doing a great job. Don't forget that he still has damage and is keeping up with the first two drivers, or better said with the first two drivers, because Johnny is behind. He is closing in, but is not able to close the gap to launch an attack, and of course now losing a little bit more time. And yeah, luckily for him the gap to the next car behind is large enough, so he does not have to worry. 22 seconds is very comfortable, and yeah, Zero Kuaku another 16 seconds behind. Kuaku also, known for doing really large stints. I think in the last 24-hour race at Spa, if I'm not mistaken, I think he did like 6 hours in one piece. Of course, because of the Digital Endurance Series regulations, there was half an hour break between those two stints, but doing 6 hours during the night in one car. And you also have to keep in mind that it did rain in this race. It's not easy, so props to him. Oh, nice jump, nice jump. Keep it on the track. Nicely done. So, let's keep a look up at Flipsy, already 18 seconds ahead of Pro. But also, doing a great stint, 50 seconds behind to the next car, Serial Blaze, and thereafter Dan GT in 4th place was, I think, already 1 lap behind. And TFSI has made it in front. There's been an overtake. Unfortunately we missed it. TFSI in front now, leading the GTE class here in the second lobby, and already putting away from Feel the Vibes, 8.5 tenths ahead. Pole Bruno has closed the gap between those cars, but Johnny is also not so far away, but has lost a little bit of time, 3.5 seconds. 3 laps ago it was 1.7 seconds. So it still remains really interesting. So great first stint, I would say. A bit unfortunate that we do not have so many drivers in the hypercar class, but later on, when the gaps will settle down, this is also interesting for you to know. When the first stint is over, we do not have we do have a very different system from other leagues, because we normally we are doing, in this case, 4 races, which are all 2 hours long. And at the end of each stint, we calculate with the gaps between those cars an overall timing table, and this for the later stages defines if you are starting in the first or in the second lobby. Interesting thing also in the first lobby, there are all drivers who have an uneven overall position, so 1st position, 3rd position, 5th position, 7th position. And it's also always considered as overall positions. And every other driver is in the second lobby. So we have basically two lobbies which are approximately which have approximately the same pace, and therefore there's no disadvantage if you are in the second lobby, because you still have the possibility to close the gap to first place. And this is an interesting thing, because Flipsy is now pulling away, doing a great stint, but you don't know how fast the guys in the first stint are. So if, for example, the pole setting team RX1 is now doing like 140 lap times consistently, they will still remain in P1, even though we see Flipsy now in first place, who's now overtaking the Porsche of Feeling the Vibes, losing out to the Lexus in front. And meanwhile, Volle Pulle Bruno is only 2.2 seconds ahead, so the gap is coming down, and there will be a fight in a short couple of time, I think. So it remains really interesting. So DenGT coming into the pit lane, first driver to enter it, and yeah, do not forget the damage that he received was due to his lap 1 incident with Volle Pulle Bruno, damage at the front and at the right, because yeah, Bruno hit him at the right, and later on I think he hit the wall with his front bumper, and yeah, that caused damage on front and left part of the car. And no fault on Bruno's side, in my opinion. It was just very unfortunate that the car in front of him did not pull away. He was not able to avoid the car in time, and therefore he received damage. And you might see now Serial Blaze, the first car to run out of hybrid. No, Pro also with no hybrid energy left. The only one who still has enough battery left is DLL Flipsy, but he still is doing great lap times. The last one was a 43, and this is perfectly normal. As the tire wear progresses, of course you lose time, but you will lose most of the time due to the loss of hybrid energy, which gives you a large amount of horsepower, which helps you accelerating in the straights, and also is a big factor in saving fuel on those cars, as you reach your scheduled top speed a little bit earlier than you would do if you normally use the main engine. Bruno, please. Yes, of course. Bruno is still in 7th place overall, losing a bit of time to Feel the Vibes, but still in great lap times, 56.0 his last lap with worn tires. This is perfectly normal. Yeah, 7/10, losing out to his fastest lap, but I think a 54.755 is a great lap time. Amazing. The Audi also a car which we should be talking about. It was really difficult to drive before the patch. After the patch, it's still one of the greatest cars. It's really fun to drive with it, and yeah, maybe I'm choosing it for another league, maybe for the next GT3 race, which we have here. The next GT3 race, if I'm not mistaken, should be the 6 hours of Brands Hatch, if I'm not mistaken. I will have a look later on. Oh, his wheel gave an... Oh, that's unfortunate. Let's keep a look if he's doing great lap times, but he's coming into the pits. Maybe he can reset his steering wheel in this time, as the pit stops take a bit of time. He's still doing, I think, 56 lap times. which is okay. If he's switched to controller, it's still an amazing pace. And don't forget, we have 8 hours. It's a large amount of time. There are so many things that can and will happen. And most important thing, don't give up. Ja, as Leon Marx says, ja, volle Pulle außenrum überholen. Translated in English, yeah. Keep up the pace, overtake around the outside, and just do your thing, basically. Yeah, there he is, and still 3.7 seconds behind two really fast drivers with Feel the Vibes and TFSI 78. Yeah, and in front we have blue flags for DenGT, and he has to make space now, as Serial Blaze is around to lap him, and he is not staying out of the ideal line, which is not a great thing. Normally he should now turn to the right, lift the throttle, and let the other car pass. Let's have a look if this works or not. Here we have Serial Blaze. Let's go on board with Toyota. Also a really nice cockpit view of the Toyota. Still receiving blue flags and no intentions of letting him pass. It could be that the stewards will have a look into it. Let's hope that he is going to let him pass in a few seconds. So Flipsy still ahead. Let's move around the field. Once again, Koaku in 10th place, Schäfer 9th, Volle Bruno in 8th. So Johnny has passed him. There must have been a mistake of Bruno. Yes, 2 minutes and 6. There was a mistake probably, as he is about to enter the pit lane. Johnny in 7th place, Feel the Vibes in 6th, TFSI in 5th, DenGT in 4th, still ignoring blue flags, or maybe he does not know that he has to let him pass, as he's normally in a hypercar normally only used to overtake GT3 cars. Serial Blaze in 3rd position, Pro in 2nd, and Flipsy in 1st position. I may excuse myself for about 2 minutes. I'm gonna be right back, and I would say that we stay with the leader and give him 1 lap of the Nürburgring, maybe 2. So guys, sorry for the small interruption, I'm back, and before everyone starts with their theories, I have not visited the bathroom. I just received a very important call, and I was already called 5 times, and thereafter I wasn't able to ignore it, and now we should be able to stream the next 1 hour and 20 minutes, and yeah, we just went in right in the middle of the action as Serial Blaze is still maintaining, is still behind DenGT, was also now ignoring the blue flags of the leading car. Oh, I think that yeah, the stewards will definitely now have a look into that, as he's maintaining the leading car behind, but I think Flipsy will be smart enough to know how to react on a situation like this. So most important thing, keep calm, manage your tires, manage your fuel, and try to overtake as soon as possible. Oh, I think there's been a mistake. Yes, DenGT spun at the exit of the Vidol chicane, and yeah, maybe the team should inform him that if a car of the same class is around to pass him with 1 lap minimum of benefit, he is supposed to stay out of the racing line and, if necessary, lift the throttle or even push the brakes without causing too much confusion, which he has now been doing. We just assume that he hasn't been informed about the normal procedure of blue flags, and hope that it will be better later on in the future. So let's have a look at the GT class. TFSI 10 seconds already ahead. Oh, yellow flags up ahead. There is Volle Pulle Bruno, who's made a mistake. Oh, he switched onto the medium tires. This is really interesting, as there is no tire rule for the WEC. You do not have to use medium tires. You can, of course, but you will lose time. Maybe he is trying to go until the end on this set of tires. An interesting strategy, but not impossible. But of course, because he has spent now so much time in the pit, you can see it on the right hand side, lap 20. He of course is now almost 1 lap behind every other GT driver, but not for long, because the rest of the field will already will also enter the pits in the next 3 to 4 laps. Also TFSI, I think he will come in either this lap or maybe next lap. And it, yeah, definitely looks like most of the drivers will go for a 2-stop strategy, which could be possible. You lose about 20-22 seconds approximately without refueling. Refueling time in the WEC is around 2 liters per second. So refueling to the standard fuel will take about 25 seconds. A full tank will take around 50 seconds to reach its peak, of course, because one car can take 100% of fuel, or I think in this case the 100% mean 100 liters. So is TFSI entering the pits? Yes, he is, and feeling the vibes is also coming in. So the normal pit window, as it seems, is lap 22. Schäfer also probably coming into the pits. Johnny already has done his pit stop and is only 14 seconds behind. He has refueled around it must be about 58%, something like this. So he will not be able to go until the end. He will have to come in again. Both cars still staying in the pit. It will take a little bit of more time. And Schäfer is staying out. He's doing another lap. The fuel should be just sufficient. But of course the benefit is that later on he has 1 lap fresher tires, so it could pay off. Oh, leaving much space for the hypercar. He does not have to do so, as he might have lost a bit of time doing this. And Johnny is closing in, which, yeah, it's perfectly normal. Fresh tires, fresh fuel. Yeah. And TFSI left the pit lane, 50% of fuel, so he will be able to do another 22 laps. Schäfer now in 6th place, so yeah, in class in 2nd place, but yeah, of course he will have to enter the pit lane. WSR-Otaku also now in the pits. Bruno for the moment in last place, but it will change when the cars up ahead will enter the pit lane. And my guess would be that he did not have enough time to reset his wheel. Let's check the lap time. Yeah, last lap time was not that bad, 156.9 with a full tank of fuel, and medium tires is a strong pace. Medium tires normally are about 1 second slower. And you have to consider that the car is about 50 kilograms heavier, or yeah, let's say 40 kilograms. As the car has been in the first stint. Don't forget that fuel weight's about like 0.8 kilograms per liter, as the density is a little bit less than the one of water, and therefore that's about the weight difference. Yeah, wheel is dead. Wish you the best of luck. Still much time left, and as I said, Bruno doing great lap times at the moment, so there is still there are still many things to fight for. Yeah. So that's an interesting thing, as Johnny has lost a huge amount of time behind TFSI. What happened there? Yeah, Johnny has a little bit more fuel on board, so he might have... he will probably have a shorter stop later on. Let's see how this develops. Dan GT is still in... oh, almost a spin of him. 4th place, Zero Blade in 3rd with a 3-second penalty. 3-second penalties normally in Gran Turismo 7 occur if you touch the white line exiting or entering the pit lane. And yeah, 3 seconds don't seem that much, but don't forget that the 3 seconds mean that you will be stopped for this amount of time, and of course you have to accelerate to get back on your normal speed, and this will also take time. So the 3 seconds normally mean that you will lose about 5, maybe 6 seconds only on this lap, and it will definitely hurt, and it could... no, Bruno had a large penalty before, but as he didn't enter the pit lane, it must have been something different. So, Pro in 2nd place, Flipsy, yeah. And Pro still both haven't entered the pit lane. That explains why the time is so large, and now, yeah, you see what it means. Getting a 3-second penalty, as the GTE car, the Porsche of Feeling the Vibes, still remaining in front, and yeah. There must have been a mistake by Feeling the Vibes, as Johnny is now in front. Feeling the Vibes has refueled till the end, so he will probably re-enter the pits for new tires, but not for fuel, or, which could also be possible, he will try to go to the end with those tires, and in this case he would not have to re-enter the pit lane. It could be possible, even though it will be difficult to manage the tires for about 39, 38 laps. That should be the amount of the stint. And yeah, that explains why Johnny is behind. There has not been a difference. I didn't realize it. Yeah, both Porsche drivers, and yeah, there's been a bit of confusion. The day's still early. I've just been awake for 4 hours approximately. So, next attempt, blue flags for Den GT 00. The car behind is, it should be Pro, no? Yeah, it is Pro. Let's see if he, pays attention to the blue flags. Yeah, he's letting him pass, I think. No, he's not. He's still ignoring blue flags. Okay, I think this will definitely be handed out to the stewards, as he's still trying to fight for position, even though he's 1 position behind and, yeah, receiving blue flags. But Pro cleared him and is now pulled ahead in 2nd place. But no! Den GT is fighting back. He's now trying to overtake him again, and you see that he's now having a bit of a pace advantage. Yes, of course, because of the fresher tires. So of course in this case he is trying to retake his position. Yeah, much more tire wear on Pro's car, but he still has to do his pit stop, and it could be that he will only enter the pit lane once. Yeah, now getting past the Porsche. Oh, Den GT is missing. Yeah, there could have been a mistake, as he's been approaching or exiting the Schumacher is a little bit slower than the car of Pro. Yes, Eddie confirmed it seems a guy that doesn't know blue flags, which should normally be the #1 thing that you should immediately learn if you enter league or endurance races in Gran Turismo. But of course, every one of us has started somewhere and has had to learn everything, so all good. Pro in 2nd place still, Flipsy 1st. Zero Haku in last place, 22 seconds to Bruno. Don't forget, Bruno had damage in the first stint, now having a 0.5 second penalty, doing his best, trying to go to the end with medium tires. The tire choice probably because if you're driving with a controller, you normally have a little bit of more tire wear, as the inputs are a little bit more direct, not as smooth as with a steering wheel, for example. And yeah, really unlucky start for the Feelgood Racing team, who have a really quick driver lineup, and I'm pretty sure they will fight back, they will not give up, and do their best in the next 3 stints, and of course in this stint as well, as Bruno still is doing good lap times, 57.5 his last lap time with medium tires. Schäfer 7 seconds ahead, doing slower lap times, so there could be a fight up ahead. The rest of the GTE field is at the moment spread out a little bit. Of course, this has, the reason behind this is that Feel the Vibes has filled up the car with a full tank of fuel. TFSI and Johnny chose to only go with half a tank and probably do another pit stop, and yeah. Misanthropolix just confirmed we have just resurrected. Yeah, that's what you wanna hear. Never giving up, always giving your best. That's what endurance races and racing in itself is about. So not many fights at the moment, unfortunately, as Flipsy is still doing great lap times. Both cars still didn't do their pit stop. Serial Blaze probably going for the 2-stop strategy. But Flipsy and Pro will have to enter the pits in this lap, or probably they will be able to do 1 more lap, but that will be it. Flipsy seems to do 1 more lap. Yes. Let's hope he does not run out of fuel, but I don't think so. Those guys are experts. They normally always have their data in plain sight and can calculate perfectly if they have enough fuel left to do another lap, or if the risk is too high and it would be better to stop. Yeah, as already told, Serial Blaze will not enter the pit lane. He is perfectly fine with fuel and tires. DenGT also, but DenGT has collected damage. The front bumper has been scraped a little bit. It is not the end of the world. You can still race normally. Yeah, but the mistake must have been in this lap. 14 seconds, the deficit to his best lap time is not normal. It is below GTE driver lap time, so there must definitely have been a mistake there. So TFSI still doing 55ers. Johnny in 6th place, also great lap times with his 55.8 in the last lap. 20 second the gap between those cars. And yeah, feel the vibes. 24 seconds behind, and this really will be interesting because if we have a look onto the fuel, the refueling time that Johnny will need later on in his next pit stop will mean that he loses about 24 seconds plus the 24 seconds or 20 seconds around that he loses due to doing the pit stop itself. So the battle between those two is still, yeah, we have a battle between those two. I think both of them just don't have realized it. And the battle will approximately commence around lap... how much fuel has he left? I think around lap 46, 47 of Johnny. Which is, yeah, around, if we calculate it right, like half an hour away. So it is still really interesting what's happening there. So both leading hypercars entering the pit lane. Flipsy, yeah, close to exiting it. Great car, we have to say, in the old Benetton design. But I think we already mentioned almost every car design, and yeah, great to see that the teams put so much effort in it. And yeah, Flipsy already on track, refueled around, must be around 65% of fuel. Now it would be funny if we would see an onboard where this is confirmed. We only can guess, but it will be something like this. Serial Blaze has a little bit more fuel, but he made his pit stop a few laps prior. DenGT in fourth place, also with another amount of fuel to go for the end. And yeah, then we have the GT class, overtaking attempt by Serial Blaze, both cars leaving each other more than enough space. That's what we want to see. Great driving by both of them, as Serial Blaze stays as far on the inside as he can, and TFSI 78 maintaining his position around the outside, not risking to lose his position by doing a mistake. Johnny still in 6th place. In GT it is 6th place, but pulling away from Feel the Vibes, and it is necessary as he will enter the pit lane once again and will definitely come out behind him. My apologies. Oh, it's gonna be so close. It's gonna be so close between those two. And that's what we want to see, a battle of strategies, of course. And it will be also interesting for the rest of the drivers, as most of the teams have more or less 3 drivers. 2 drivers are the minimum team number, maximum is 3 per team, and therefore the field later on will change a few times. The positions will change in the overall, according to the overall results, also compared with the results of the first lobby. And yeah, it remains interesting. As we are almost reaching half time, 58 minutes 26 seconds past, and Pole Bruno, yeah, with his medium tires, improving his lap time 56.135. That's great. That's even faster than one of the last lap times of Feel the Vibes, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and he made a 55.5. But okay, he's on the softs and there's also a large amount of fuel, so that's okay. But great pace by everyone driving here. 55er lap times are not easy to do, even with those cars, which are difficult to drive. Oh, half a second penalty. Easy to get on this position, Schumacher S, if you cross the right-hand curve on the inside. You get half a second penalty, which now has happened to Pole Bruno. But as we expected, the gap between Schäfer and Bruno is coming down. Only 2 seconds left, and Bruno actually doing like half a second to a second slower. So this is not over yet. There is a fight just up ahead, and I think it will take like 2 or 3 laps until, yeah, those two guys meet each other. Johnny and TFSI doing still the same lap times. Yeah, Johnny was, I think, a little bit unfortunate at the beginning of the stint, as he has lost a little bit of more time in traffic. It's a bit unfortunate that the gaps are so stable at the moment, because yeah, there's no real fight at the moment. But I think this situation is the most interesting one. Oh, Bruno pushing a little bit too much, getting onto the gravel trap, but keeping his car on the track back again. And the gap is still coming down. Only 1.772 seconds. The gap will increase slightly now, entering the Schumacher S. He's desperately trying to clean up the tires, moving from left to right, of course, to get those tires clean as fast as possible. But the gap still remains yeah, pretty stable at the moment, even though that he has made 1 or 2 minor mistakes. There will be definitely a fight in 2 or 3 laps. So, let's see what Schäfer is doing. Last lap time was a 57.3, Bruno's last lap time 56.5. And don't forget that Schäfer is still racing on the softer tires, and Pole Bruno on the supposedly slower medium tires. But of course, the medium tire will remain much fresher in the later stages of the race, so he does not have to attack right now. He can wait, but I don't think that he will. I think that Bruno will do everything that he can to get this position as fast as possible. So Kuaka also doing a good stint, 30 seconds behind 2 really fast drivers is really strong. Flipsy still in first place. Let's have a look if there have been any position changes. But I think the hypercar class still should be really stable. Pro in second place. The only car still remaining in the lead lap. Serial Blaze in third with half a second penalty. Now getting involved in this battle between those two, which could be an important factor, as he will try to overtake the McLaren before reaching the Müllenbach-Kehre, as he's doing so, but this will cost Schäfer a large amount of time. Not as large as Bruno probably has wished for, but the gap is still coming down. Bruno is still doing consistent lap times. The 58 time was of course due to the penalty and one small mistake. But still he's keeping up really good and yeah, closing in. The McLaren seems to have a little bit more top speed. Oh, there's been a mistake. There was, I think it was Serial Blaze who left the track. Yes, Serial Blaze with a small mistake exiting the Bielstein curve. Not sure if there's been a collision or if he just lost control of the car. Car still in one piece, so he can continue. Of course he will now have dirty tires, but this should not be that much of an issue. He will definitely not enter the pit lane, and I would say that we move back and have a look on the upcoming fight between the McLaren and the Audi. Both mid-engine equipped cars, both cars which have benefited from the last update, as they have been now much easier, much more fun to drive. And I would say that we use this opportunity to go on board the Audi R8. Come on, we want to see the cockpit. I don't see anything. Okay, that's strange. Serial Blaze, similar situation as one lap before. Bruno now in a perfect position because he did not lose any time whatsoever in this situation, but probably Schäfer will now lose a large amount of time as approaching the Schumacher S, and getting a faster car behind will definitely cost you time as you have to move offline. Now breaking into the Ravenol Kurve, or Ravenol turn as it is called in English. And yeah, definitely lost time there, and Bruno already almost being able to read the license number plate, if there would be one attached, which it isn't. Why can't I see the onboard cam? That's strange. Can I see it in the McLaren? No. Alright, then let's stay with the flyback cam. So, 1 second the gap and decreasing, and now he's in the clutches. Now he should be able to get even a little bit of slipstream from the McLaren in front of him, and there will be definitely an attack in the next couple of laps. So, the battle which we predicted has now started, I think. This is the fight in this lobby for 5, 6, 7, 8, P5 and P6 in the GTE class in this lobby. Overall, of course, P9. No, sorry. 5, 6, 7, P4 and P5. Sorry, my mistake. As we have 6 cars of the GT class in this lobby. Schäfer staying in front, but Bruno has proven that he did lap faster in the past few laps. Oh, it's getting interesting, it's getting feisty. And Schäfer, during this stressful situation, still doing his best personal sector time in sector number 2. Not bad. So if we don't have an onboard cockpit, we still want to see something from the car. And don't forget, this guy had to switch to the controller from the steering wheel and is still doing great lap times. 56.3, 56.0. We just ignore the 58 lap time, this was a penalty lap. Ooh, closely braking in, but great exit by Bruno. We have to keep a look around the outside, from the outside, because I think now on the start-finish straight he will try to do his first attack, as he's getting a little bit too, bit too much understeer, but he's closing in 3-4 tenths of a second. Still not enough to launch an attack, but making his presence clear to SAL Schäfer. AMG Arena, great part of the track where you can try to overtake, even around the outside. It is not impossible. Great sound also by both cars. The Audi, of course, was one of the most iconic V10 engine sounds of all time. McLaren also with a great engine noise. So, what more do you wish? Oh, Bruno also, good exit. Still a little bit too far away. Yeah, don't forget, it is a difficult track to overtake. It's not only the Nordschleife, also the GP circuit has its difficulties. Is he trying to overtaking around the Schumacher S? No. He backed off, he kept his position, didn't risk anything stupid, and waited for the next opportunity, which probably even will happen in this lap if he now gets a really good exit around the Bielstein curve. Now coming down to the Hatzenbach-Bogen, or the Adwan-Bogen as it also is called, if you want to know the sponsor names of this corner. Approaching now the Vidol chicane, braking really early, don't risking anything. Match curve of both cars, and yes, a great exit, trying to overtake around the outside. It's gonna be difficult, and the McLaren will defend his position, but yes, he's getting the position back, and now it's a drag race to turn 1 for both cars. The McLaren probably with a little bit more top speed, as the car has a little bit more aerodynamic downforce. Going really defensive now, the McLaren, and Bruno almost getting past the McLaren, but of course Schäfer will not let his position be lost so easily. And it was not even forceful defending, it was just smart by both drivers. Both left each other enough space. That's what we want to see. No pushing, no contact, just clean, smooth, fair racing. And both drivers losing time, of course, in this situation. Blue flags, there's a faster car approaching from the back, and it is probably the leading car. Yes, Flipsy. And I think he's also smart enough to spot that both cars in front of him are fighting for position, and he will not try to interfere more than needed. So let's see if he waits until both cars pass the Schumacher S. Yes, he does so. Really difficult to pass here. Passing both cars, and the consequence that both left enough space, and as Schäfer lost a little bit of more time, Bruno managed to crawl up the rear of the car again, just creeping up behind the gearbox of the McLaren, and now trying to do another overtake attempt, maybe into the Vidol chicane. He is a little bit too far behind. Will he try it? No. Braking again really early, doing the safe line, but he has a much better exit again of the Vidol chicane. He had to keep a little bit of distance to avoid a collision. That's probably the reason why he didn't get the exit he wished for. Or maybe he's waiting until a better opportunity, maybe on the start-finish straight. But the McLaren seems to be a really difficult car to overtake, really fast in a straight line. So he will attack somewhere where Schäfer does not expect it, probably, maybe into a section where you normally do not go for an overtake. But this is by far the most interesting battle at the moment, or maybe a launch into the second part of the AMG arena. No. Now another important track. Oh, this could be a track limit transmission. Yes, 1 second penalty for Bruno for track limit. And I think it was the inside curve at the exit of the AMG arena. Really easy to get their penalty. Oh, and Bruno lost the car, and this... Oh no, he has collided. Oh no. This was such a great battle between both guys, and I think he will re-enter the pit lane, go for softs, and try to go to the end. Wow, that's really unlucky. 1 second penalty, and just thereafter the small mistake exiting the Ford curve. It was a great battle until this moment. Really unfortunate. And Schäfer, of course, taking now a deep breath, as he might have seen what happened just behind him. Bruno still 5 seconds behind. but I don't think that he will be able to close the gap now. I think he will re-enter the pit and go for a fresh set of tires, as he can keep the position. Kohaku 40 seconds behind, and there's no need to refuel, but I think that this is probably the last thing that Polo Bruno is now interested in knowing what the other guys are doing. Will you re-enter the pits? Yes, it seems like this, yes. I think it is the best decision to do, as he will approximately lose 1 or 2 seconds each lap, and he will be able to make up this time on a fresh set of soft tires. And it's not entirely over yet, as Schäfer might also have to enter the pit again. There are 24 laps remaining, and I don't think that his tires will last until the end. And don't forget, Bruno had a little bit more fuel in his car, so he will gain by having now a little bit shorter pit stop. And of course he also repaired the damage. This is this took about 3 seconds. Oh, and he crossed the white line, I think. Did he cross the white line? No, he was lucky. No penalty for him. Schäfer still in 8th place overall, and yeah, now we have the time to go through the field again. Let's start at the rear. We shall not forget Kohaku, who is now again only 10 seconds behind Polo Bruno, but it could happen that Kohaku will do another pit stop for safety reasons to get another set of fresh tires. No guarantee, but it could be possible. So, Bruno in 9th place, Schäfer in 8th. Feel the Vibes in 7th place, Johnny in 6th position. The GTE leader with 24.5 seconds advantage is TFSI 78. Then GT with 4 minutes and 55 gap to the leading car in 4th place, and therefore the last hypercar in this lobby. But don't forget, there's still another lobby. In 3rd place we have Serial Blaze. Pro is in the 2nd overall position, and the still leading car is DLL Flipsy. We have now had 1 hour and 50 minutes of racing, 44 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. And of course the end of the lap that everyone did start at the end of his last stint. I meant, of course, after the time has run out, but still a long way to go. Still many things that can and will happen. So, weather still looking good, but forecast still remains the same. It looks like we will get a not so small amount of rain in the second half of the race. So, and we have not forgotten this battle, which is still a battle, even though both cars have a gap of 33 seconds between both of them. But we can almost certainly guarantee that Johnny will do another pit stop. On the other hand, I am not so sure if Feel the Vibes will do the same. If he enters the pit lane, he will definitely lose a position to Johnny. If he stays out and goes to the end with this set of tires, he might probably be able to stay, better said, to overtake Johnny. The question then, of course, is, will Johnny in this case be able to close the gap and take his position back? What we certainly can say is that TFSI 78 will do another pit stop, as he is slightly but surely running out of fuel. But his last lap times were not this bad. 54.177. Not bad, sir. Also the rest of the grid doing great lap times, 55.6 the last lap time by Feel the Vibes, 55.4 the last lap time by DLL Johnny. And also Schäferno doing good laps. He made his fastest lap 2 laps ago with a 56.234. Follopulo Bruno now back on soft tires, and his first lap was immediately 54.9. So this is definitely not over yet, as I'm really sure that Schäfer will do another pit stop and at least will have to refuel his car. And I think that before he enters the pit lane, the gap will keep coming down, as Bruno is still lapping faster. So even without a pit stop, we could still have a battle again between both cars. Oh, I think there has been another problem by Follow Bruno. This looks like a steering wheel mistake. I was wondering why the pace was so fast. Maybe he reconnected his wheel and then, it fell off, but no damage. He's still keeping on the track now. Of course, now dirty tires, and he has been lapped now by Johnny. Lapped or overtaken? No. Lapped, okay. Just to get the confirmation. So the rest of the field still evenly spread out. But we still keep in mind the fight between those two cars. 34 seconds the gap. We will keep monitoring it. And of course we will... Oh, this is interesting. Overtaking attempt around the outside by Feel the Vibes around an hypercar. Not bad, sir. You will be honored for it by me. Just by, having it on stream and, But of course you will lose the position later on the start-finish straight, as the hypercar has a much better amount of top speed and will probably get past, but it does not seem that way. Which lap times is he doing at the moment? 2 minutes on 1 the last lap time. Okay, he has damage, and I think he is not driving at the moment. I think he's on autopilot, if I'm not mistaken. As you can see, the warning lights below. And the line is the normal line for the autopilot, so I think he's not driving at the moment. Not sure if this is a legal thing, but also this is not my decision. The decision lays by the steward. Yes, this is definitely autopilot mode. So those of you who are new on Gran Turismo, the autopilot mode is activated by just pressing the option button, and normally you do it during the training sessions. During the race it can be really risky, as you don't ghost out, and other cars still could collide with you, but this of course explains why Feel the Vibes has been able to overtake the hypercar around the outside. Great move by him, but of course it was made a little bit easy for him, but still, great performance. And Johnny enters the pit lane as we predicted it. And I think it is the perfect amount of the perfect time now. So, where is Feel the Vibes? He's now passing the pit entry, last corner. Johnny will not have to refuel so much as he might have. I think he will only need about 40%, something like this. But Feel the Vibes is already getting past, but this is not over yet, don't forget. Feel the Vibes will have much more worn tires, and Johnny is now leaving the pit lane with a gap of 10.4 seconds, but with much better material, and I think he did refuel too much to his car. I don't think that he does need so much fuel, but if he's gonna push, better be sure to have enough fuel. So 12 active spectators, to everyone who I didn't welcome at the moment. Welcome to the stream, welcome to the Digital Endurance Series WEC 8 hours of Nürburgring. Of course only the GP circuit, as we do have a multi-class race, and one of those classes is the Le Mans Hypercar class, which is not so easy and not so safe to drive around the Nordschleife. So, the gap now between Feel the Vibes and TFSI 78, 1 minute and 1 second. It should normally be enough for TFSI to stay in P1 even after doing another pit stop, so he should be good until the end of his stint. The question remains, what will happen between those two guys? At the moment, Johnny doing a little bit, being a little bit slower, but it could be due to tire temperature. Don't forget that it is a large factor in Gran Turismo, especially in Gran Turismo 7. If the tires are a little bit too cold, you don't have the grip, they do need a little bit of time to get into the right temperature, and if they are, the gap normally should be coming down between both of them. But both cars still doing great lap times. Johnny now on his first flying lap, and yeah, we will keep an eye on what he's doing, if there still is the possibility to close the gap. Schäfer in 8th place, Volle Pole Bruno still in 9th, and Schäfer, I don't think that he will be able to go to the end of the race. He will have to enter the pit lane again and will probably lose the position to Bruno, who is doing great lap times at the moment, 55.7, 55.8 with controller, and Kuhaku actually in 10th place. Last lap time 57.7, his fastest lap 56.4901 on lap 36, and yeah, TFSI now entering the pit lane. Meanwhile, we keep an eye on the leader, or let's use the opportunity to move through the entire field. So we have still in P1 DLL Flipsy doing, I think from his own point of view, a quite unspectacular race, as he's all by himself at the front. Second place we still have Pro, with a gap of 1 minute and 8 seconds to the leader. Serial Blaze in 3rd position, and Den GT in 4th position. So average Deadeye Del Boy Enjoy, wow, complicated name, sorry. Schwer zu sagen, kann sein, dass er wieder umgestiegen ist auf Lenkrad, bin da gar nicht so sicher. Es sah auf jeden Fall so aus, als wäre auf einmal gerade ausgefallen, als wäre irgendwie irgendwas ausgegangen. Also es kann schon sein, dass er auf Lenkrad umgestiegen ist und dann normal weitergefahren ist mit Controller zur Sicherheit. Schwer zu sagen, weil die erste Rundenzeit von ihm war relativ gut. Oh, there's been a mistake by DenGT, and he already has damage and half a second penalty, and I think he will get another penalty, because even though he made a mistake and he lost time, he cut track limits, but he seems to be okay. Nothing happened. So TFSI still in 5th place, 17 seconds in front of Feel the Vibes, and I think both drivers will go till the end with this amount of fuel and their tires. But the gap, surprisingly, is not coming down for Johnny, but he's normally a guy who always stays calm, who sees, who plays the long game. The tires will keep wearing out for Feel the Vibes, but he's doing an amazing job managing those tires over the last... when did he enter the pit lane? I think after around 45 minutes of race time, so those tires have now respectively an age of around 42 minutes and will have to stay alive for another 30 minutes. So it will still be really difficult, but not impossible. Now, as we have just before seen, DenGT Spinner, I almost forgot. He's not on autopilot anymore, he's driving normally again. At least I think so. There are no warning lights on his car. Let's keep a look on his braking point. No, it's a normal racing line, so he's now driving again by himself. The gap of 17 seconds increasing already. Feel the vibes just behind in 18th place and being now lapped by by Pro. Just a little brain freeze. And the gap is starting to come down a little bit. It could be due to traffic, but the 12 seconds have really quickly changed to 10.3 seconds and the gap keeps coming down. So I think we will have another fight in a couple of laps. Misanthropolix just confirmed it. Bruno's still driving on controller. Safety first if the steering wheel does not work. But I know this situation perfectly. I know when the hardware does fail, it normally is mostly unfortunate. But it's not over yet and the gap is coming down. 28 seconds, and don't forget, Schäfer will probably have to do another pit stop. I don't think that he has enough fuel to complete the first stint. So just keep it calm and there will be another opportunities. So fastest lap at the moment, we did mention it before because it has been set about an hour ago. 1 minute 41.311 by DLL Flipsy. But you see the pace now of him, 144s only, and this is only due to the lack of hybrid energy, as you normally lose so much time if the electric energy of the car is missing. But the cars behind seem to have the same problem. Gap still decreasing, 9.6 seconds between Johnny and Feel the Vibes. Bruno serving his penalty, but it seemed to be a larger penalty than the one we just saw. It must definitely have more than half a second if he's now at braking point 220 kph. Normally you have around 250. So at the moment no real fight. We still wait for the battle between P2 and P3 in the GTE class, at least in this lobby. Of course the overall positions are still unknown and will remain unknown until the stint ends. And again, a quick reminder, if you are interested in seeing what the rest of the grid is doing in the first lobby, just enter Twitch and search for Digital Endurance Series. It is just the same name as the YouTube account here on Twitch, and you can of course support your team, your drivers who are also competing in the same race, just in another lobby. And again, important information for those of you who just entered the stream: the lobbies are not separated by strength. Both lobbies have approximately the same amount of pace, as everyone with an even overall position is in the second lobby, so here with me, and the rest of the grid, so those who have an uneven position, this means the the pole setter of the first Stint, for example, of both classes, they are driving in the first lobby. So it means the overall positions 1, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21 and so on are in the first lobby, and the rest of the grid are the drivers you are watching right now. Oh! Critical situation! The penalty by Flipsy, and it was going so well. Could the turn now table? No, I don't think so. 1 minute and 14 seconds of an advantage should still don't mean that this half a second penalty will ruin this race. You never know, but I think we can be quite sure that it won't be that much of an issue. So Pro in second place, Serial Blaze in third place, and Denji T is the driver who is now receiving blue flags as oh, almost a spin. Flipsy is not so far behind, he is closing in. And we are getting a similar situation as we had before. Blue flags for a car of the same class means stay clear of the racing line, and if necessary apply the brakes and lift the throttle. So let's see if it works. Yeah, it seems, yeah. This is what we want to see. Stay out of the racing line. Perfectly done. So, second place Pro, zero place third place. We just saw Denji T. Oh, there was a car, I think, hitting a gravel trap. No car off the track at the moment. The Porsche staying on the left hand side, keeping enough space. Clever driving by WSR-Otaku. Oh, what happened there? Has there been a mistake? No, just let's have a look on the actual delta. 3/10, but the gap has now increased to 29 seconds. Ah! Yeah, Feel the Vibes has made a mistake. You see, he has front damage, and therefore Johnny got past him. Oh, yellow flags. There must be a car on the left hand side. Yellow flags removed, and I think it was the Toyota of Denji T. Yes. Again with damage, again with the autopilot switched on. And again a Porsche, this is trying to overtake the Toyota. But of course on autopilot you are so slow on control corners that even the GT cars lose a little bit of time because they are not able to do their racing line as fast as they normally could. Denji T is back on normal. So this is the explanation why the gap has increased so quickly from around 17-18 seconds to 30.8 as Johnny went past Feel the Vibes, and yeah, I think the point of no return has already been passed. Feel the Vibes probably will have to go for the end. He could keep his position, but the question of course is, will he lose more time by staying out or by doing another pit stop, repairing the damage and doing faster lap times? I think staying out is the best option he has at the moment. Schäfer with around 15% of fuel remaining. Follow Polo Bruno without any problems is, according to his fuel data, good to the end. Oh, I think we jinxed a little bit, but no mistake. That finishes his race. Just be cautious, dirty tires. Cool remaining behind, keeping out of space for cars lapping him at the moment, in this case he replays. And already 1 hour and 37 minutes passed, so we are now entering the final 22 minutes and 20 seconds. Oh, this was a close situation as the Toyota of DenGT spun out just entering the video chicane. He immediately apologized for it. I don't think that anything happened. But of course he now has to overtake the Porsche in front again. No problem in this situation, start finish long enough to ensure a safe overtaking. But he keeps his position. Interesting. So let's have a look again. TFSI in first place in the GTE class, second Johnny, who is increasing his advantage. Last lap time 55.4. How we can compare it at the moment? Yeah, 55.0. Wow, large amount of 9 thousandths of a difference between the last 2 laps of TFSI. Alright, but also Johnny doing consistent lap times. He just had a little bit of misfortune 2 laps ago where he had to avoid the 4th place LMH Toyota. Feel the Vibes in 7th place, Schäfer in 8th place, and the fuel is decreasing. And I think we almost can be sure that there will be another pit stop by the McLaren driver. The only thing that is not certain is, will he keep his position or will he lose it to follow Bruno? Bruno made a small mistake in the last lap, but still keeps his car under control. No damage, tires looking good, he's good on fuel. And yeah, we can normally, if you are unsure, compared to the rest of the drivers who all seem to be good on fuel. Yeah, TFSI could also be a little bit close on fuel, but yeah, Feel the Vibes with almost the same amount, a little bit more. So they both should be good to the end. But Schäfer definitely will do another pit stop in a short amount of time. Bruno now, yeah, this is actually close to the normal racing line what we just saw, as he might have, yeah, must be a little bit frustrated as he's now getting blue flags for TFSI 78, the GT3 leader. And yeah, of course it will cost him time if he's getting overtaken. And I think he does not know that there's still a car who has to do another pit stop. 12.5 or let's say 12% of fuel remaining. You normally use up to 2.5 to 3% of fuel each lap. I would say 2.5 is a little bit more accurate. If you manage your fuel, you can do around 23-24 laps. Misanthropic suggesting Bruno for driver of the day. We still have 6 hours. We still have a huge amount of time where basically anything can and anything will happen. And the first predictive thing that is going to happen is, yeah, Schäfer entering the pit lane. I think he will go for new tires as well. For this stint, yeah. Never giving up, always pulling through, always trying to get the best result. So, let's have a look. Bruno is in front of Schäfer, 5.4 seconds ahead. And as expected, Schäfer has yeah, put on a new set of tires. Let's compare it to the front, yeah. Oh, yellow flags exiting the final corner. There's a car on the right hand side. Yellow flags removed again, and during this time Johnny doing a great lap time of 154.695, and it isn't even his fastest lap time. He has been quicker before. Yeah, meanwhile TFSI in front seems to have everything under control. Good on fuel, good on tires, good lap times. We didn't see anything, just a little spin. DenGT seems to be a little bit nervous. It could be that it is probably his first endurance race. We should not forget it. There are many newcomers during this race. Oh, tricky situation as TFSI is getting blue flags, but also the car ahead of him is getting blue flags for him. Very tricky situation. So everyone has to work together now. So, Theory Blaze now getting past of the two GT cars. No problem whatsoever in this case. Let's see if Bruno respects blue flags. He does so. Great job. That's what we want to see. No, he stays in front. I think that TFSI made a small mistake. He missed his braking point. And now both of them missed the ideal line. So, meanwhile, feel the vibes. Yeah, 1 minute 11 seconds. The gap between both of those cars, 6.8 seconds. And of course, Bruno does not want to lose more time than necessary. Oh, TFSI sending it into the inside. Bruno saw it coming, left enough space. Nothing happened there. But it is clear that the Audi has a great amount of pace because he's able to keep up easily with the Lexus in front. But he lets TFSI go, letting him do his race, and the gap behind still 6.3 seconds, but Schäfer with fresher tires. His last lap time is, we can ignore it because it was an out lap. His first flying lap is the lap he's doing at the moment right now. So Johnny in 6th place, also with a very secure position now in 2nd place in the GT E-Class, as feel the vibes behind of course losing not such a small amount of time because of his damage, as there seems to be a bit of confusion between Den and Kuhaku, who are now lapping each other. But oh, almost again bottling it, and Kuhaku getting the position back. Alright. NGT is staying clear of the GT traffic in front. He is allowed to lap them still. Zero Blaze 3rd place, and the gap between 1st and 2nd is still increasing, as Flipsy is still doing great lap times. 42.951 his last lap, or better said his fastest lap from the last 10 attempts. As we enter now the last 14 minutes of the first stint of the 8 hours of the Digital Endurance Series WEC series, and just for your information, if you're interested in this racing series, it will not be the last race of the WEC. We are only at the 2nd round. The first round were the 6 hours of Monza 2 months ago, and if you're interested, the next race will be in the end of June, so in about 2 months, and it will be a 24-hour race at the circuit of Le Mans. And the next events will be a 6-hour race at Interlagos, 10 hours of Road Atlanta, and as the season finale we have another 24-hour race at the Daytona circuit. So let's have a look again through the field. Zero Kuhaku in 10th place. Schäfer in 9th position, losing a bit of time to Bruno, who is now pulling up ahead, but 1.5 second penalty in this situation does not really seem to help. Feel the vibes in 7th place, Johnny in 6th place, TFSI 78 in 5th place, DenGT in 4th position, and Zero Blaze in 3rd, and of course we have the both overall leading drivers, and Pro the only driver remaining in the lead lap. At the moment at least, yeah, 4 minutes the gap between Serial Blaze and the other Flipsy. Also for your information, if you're interested, we do not only have the WEC series, we also have a normal Group 3 series. Just for your explanation, in the WEC series we have a custom balance of performance for the GT cars, and you are allowed to tune your cars, so to change the setup. But you should not forget that you are only allowed to install manual a racing gearbox. There are no turbos allowed, there are no compressors allowed, but you are allowed to change your setup for the car for each track. For the Group 3 series there are no setup changes possible, and we drive with the normal Gran Turismo 7 BOP depending on each track, as we now have low speed, mid speed and high speed BOP in Gran Turismo 7, and each team has to change their car between each race. So if you use, for example, the AMG Mercedes GT3 in the first race, in the second race you have to choose another car which is not the AMG. So you can choose, for example, Subaru, Audi, Toyota, and if I'm not mistaken every Group 3 car is allowed. And yeah, another difference between the WEC and the Group 3 races. In the WEC we have a fuel consumption of 1 and a tire wear of 1, and the refueling time is around 2 liters per second, as I mentioned during the beginning of the stint. Yeah, high, middle and low BOP are, I think, identical, but I think the standard setup might be different. If it is not, it wouldn't make much sense. Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, and the other difference is in the Group 3 class series, fuel consumption is ×2, and tire wear I think is also ×2. And the refueling time is around 4 liters per second, if I'm not mistaken. The last race was a 24-hour race at Spa-Francorchamps, and it was a really interesting one. It was really close, great stints, and great fun to watch. And also to stream. Greetings to this guy in front in P1. So, 10 minutes remaining. Let's have another look what the rest of the team is doing, as DenGT is now staying out of trouble. TFSI is still doing consistent lap times, 55s to 54s, as is Johnny with his consistent 55 lap times. Feel the Vibes in 7th place, also doing a great job. And yeah, for the Bruno, a really unfortunate stint, but still only 1 minute behind the leading cars in the GTE class is a great result if you keep in mind the huge amount of unfortunateness that the auto driver got. But in the final 6 hours I'm really sure that the rest of the team will be able to compensate for it. They will definitely give it their best, give it their all, and yeah. Excited to see what's gonna happen. So, Feel the Vibes losing still more time, but yeah, after the pit stop of Schaefer, was starting to also close in a little bit on Bruno. This is not entirely over. Let's compare the lap times. Last times were 57.7 and 58.3. Schaefer at the moment doing a second quicker. It could still be possible that we have a small fight until the end of the race. 8 minutes are left, and of course the rest of the final lap that everyone will start after the 2 hours finish. Kuaku also doing a great job, 47 seconds behind a very quick GTE field, but again of course with a half a second penalty, but he should be it could be possible that he might have to enter again for another pit stop. Flipsy in front, having everything under control, as is TFSI 78 in the GTE class. 36 seconds at the moment. The gap to Johnny in second place. Again, large support to the DLL and the DON team. And of course, Feel Good Racing. We shall not forget the Feel Good Racing supporters. We've had a few during the stream. We still have 2 or 3 supporters, I think, watching and spotting. And yeah, meanwhile, Johnny still doing consistent lap times, carrying his car to the end of the stint. And yeah, feel the vibes just behind. Volle Pulle Bruno. 5 seconds the gap to Schäfer, who has now to deal a little bit with traffic as Flipsy is about to overtake him. The half-a-second penalty does not really help. And this is a really good example because both cars, Schäfer and Volle Bruno, on the overall result table will now have respective gap of the time that you are seeing at the moment. So even though that the gap now is 5 seconds large, the gaps will freeze down, but everything will be dependent on the overall result table. So it will remain really close until the end of the race, or better said, until the start of the final stint. So, 5 minutes remaining. And Bruno maintaining now the gap. I think he should be fine until the end of his stint. And I just jinxed that 1.5 second penalty, and I think it is again the same corner where he did the mistake before the exit of the AMG arena. The Audi seems to have a little bit of understeer, but all cars seem to be good on fuel. I think everyone will make it without any troubles to the end. Kuhaku could still be a decisive factor. Maybe he will do another pit stop before the end of the race. From now on, I think there are 2 laps remaining. He should have around 5% of fuel. It could just be enough. Difficult to see, but I think he will have to do another pit stop. Just a splash and dash to be fine. So I will try now to capture every single driver who crosses the start-finish line to monitor the gaps, so that in case that anything happens we still have a confirmation of the real gaps, as it is a very important... Oh, let's move away as he's doing a mistake. You didn't see anything. But Schäfer is now closing in again, of course, and now with dirty tires exiting the final corner. Yeah, it was almost certain that Bruno will lose a bit of time, and yeah, of course, much more worn tires. Schäfer's tires look as good as new, and yeah, what was it? I just wanted to say that each driver now has to report the gap to the leading car. This is the gap that you can see in the small red square on the timesheet on the left hand side of the screen, and if you do so you can feed an Excel table which really quickly calculates the overall result gap. and the gap between those two cars is coming down, as we are now entering the last 2 minutes and 11 seconds of the first stint, and thereafter we still have 6 hours of racing remaining. So lobby number 2 should be about to open in the next moments. Just another reminder, it could be possible that the first lobby has a little bit of a delay. Let's have a look on Twitch. No, the first lobby, yeah, they have about 5 minutes of delay, not that much of an issue, so if everything goes to plan, we should be able to enter the second stint as quickly as possible. Just a quick reminder of the first stint. The current leading car is the RX1 racing car, in second position is the WSR Team 1 car in the hypercar class, and in the third position the hypercar class is the Kart Village Esports team driver for the team, KC1900. So, last minute of the first stint, and we can already try to guess who will be the first one to cross the start-finish line, and I think it will be Flipsy. So, perfect. At least it does look like it, yes. As he's been doing 44 lap times, he will be definitely the first one to enter. So we stay with the leader, as he will be the first one to receive the jacket flag. And I don't think that there is much needed to say. It was an amazing stint, approximately no mistake. Well, there was one massive mistake which got him a half a second penalty, but yeah, didn't change the result. So congratulations to the DLL team, to DLL Flipsy, who crosses the start-finish line as the first driver. Next one is Ziroku Haku, gap to P1 50 minutes 46 seconds. The next one to cross the line is the GTE winner, TFSI 78, the gap to P1 12 minutes and 33 seconds. Just behind him we have Volle Pulle Bruno, who kept his position and has not been overtaken, even though it has been close. And yeah, it was a great battle between those two drivers. Really unfortunate that there was a bit of misfortune. So, Volle Pulle Bruno crossing the line, 40 minutes, 39 minutes to P1, 40 minutes 40 for Schäfer, also a great race by him. The next one to cross the line is DLL Johnny in second place in the GTE class, lobby number 2, gap to P1 30 minutes and 11 seconds. The next one is Siri Blaze, gap to P1 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Then GT with a gap of 9 minutes and 54 seconds. And the next one, the penultimate driver, if I'm not mistaken, should be Feel the Vibes in third place in the GTE class. Congratulations to him, gap to P1 30 minutes 38 seconds. And the last car that is missing is Pro in second place, 1 minute 34 seconds to P1. This has been the first stint of the 8-hour race on the Nürburgring, presented by the Digital Endurance Series. And yeah, just to be sure, we save the replay, you never know. A bit of confusion at the start, but in the end we had a few interesting battles. It was fun. I thank you so much for paying attention to the race, for supporting your teammates. I wish you the best of fun for the rest of the race, and see you later on, and also probably see you on track. Have fun.